Hi everybody, it's Lori here to do my May wrap up where I talk about my favorites for the month and a couple of books that maybe just didn't hit right for me. I realized that I didn't do an April wrap up, so I'm just gonna go over my top 2 favorite books of April. I'll put a link to some of my videos down below if you'd like to check out some of the vlogs that I did for some of the books that I read in April. Not bad months at all. I've actually been doing really well with my reading vlogs and have been enjoying what I've been reading. But by the time I realized that I skipped April, it was so far into May, I was like, maybe we'll just skip it. So I'll talk about my favorite and then we'll get into May. Okay, so my top book for April was Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo, which shouldn't be a surprise. I love Leigh Bardugo. I loved Ninth House and Hellbent, and this was a great series. I actually read both of them. You'll see in an upcoming vlog that I finished Crooked Kingdom. So there are 2 books in the series for now, duology, and I think that it is open for a 3rd book, but I don't think it's been announced yet. At least it wasn't the last time I checked. So if any of you know anything differently, please let me know in the comment section down below. I definitely want to be in the know when the next one comes out because I just love all of the characters. This was an easy 5-star for me. We have Kaz and a gang of intrepid, I don't know, are they thieves? They're trying to break in to the most heavily guarded prison and steal something out of it. And they have all kinds of adventures along the way. All things that could go wrong do. They have to work together and use their ingenuity, their intelligence, their brains, brawn, the whole thing to get them out. It was a very fun ride. I loved it and couldn't wait to pick up Crooked Kingdom, which is the 2nd book in the series. Highly recommend that series if you haven't read it. I do own the Shadow and Bone series as well, and we'll be diving into that soon. But lovely Bardugo, pretty sure that she has been added to my auto-buy list of authors that I can't wait to read more from. And then my 2nd favorite book for April was A Trail Through Time by Jodi Taylor. I love this series. They are a bunch of time travelers. They don't like when you say that, but they are from St. Mary's, and they are going back in time to just observe, but that is never what happens. I mean, just being there, things happen. While they cannot change time because that causes all kinds of problems and the time police are then after them, things do happen and they get themselves into some precarious scrapes. People do get injured. They do die in this series. And so you're always at the edge of your seat. I will say it's a lot of action, a lot of fun. The first book, I just couldn't even believe it. I told my boss about it right away. I'm like, you have to pick up this series. It's so good. This one I rated a 4.5, mainly because of the relationship between our 2 main characters, which is Max and Farrell. They have a romantic relationship between the 2 of them, but they suffer from my least favorite trope of all time, which is miscommunication. It just grates on me a little bit because they are very brilliant adults that can hurdle through time and space, put themselves into all of these crazy situations and find a way to get out of them, but yet they can't communicate and have an intelligent conversation between the 2 of them. They're working it out. I find as the series goes on, seems like the communication is getting better as we go on, but in order to give it a 5-star, I want to see the 2 of them really communicate with one another, and we'll see where it goes. But yes, it's a lot of fun. It's kind of like brain candy or popcorn read. I hear people talk about that, and that's exactly what this series is for me. It's just a way for me to shut off my brain, have a really great time, revisit some of my favorite characters, see what they're up to, and highly recommend this series. It's always a lot of fun. I'm not going to talk too much about the books that were a bummer. I only had 1 DNF, so there you go. But unfortunately, that DNF was The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. This book was too intelligent for me. I was totally lost, and I give all of you props if you were able to stick through it and really enjoyed it. I just couldn't. I didn't have the mental capacity for it at that moment. I had to wave the white flag and say, it's just not for me. I don't know, perhaps I'll pick it up again in the future, but at this point I was just like, nope, can't do it. I gave up. I don't know what page I was on, but yeah, I think I got about 100 pages in and I was like, what is even happening? So anyway, I think I'm just going to have to call it quits for now on that particular book. But yeah, props to all of you that were able to stick it out and were able to figure out what was going on. I was totally lost. So surprisingly, in the month of May, I didn't have any 5-star reads, which is really strange. I might have been suffering from comparison syndrome. I don't know, is that a thing? But just comparing some of the books that I have read recently and saying, are they as good as these? And looking for something that meets those criteria. Like, is this a top book of the year for me? So I might have been a little bit harsh, maybe possibly in the month of May, but I definitely had 4 stars and some books I really enjoyed. I had 11 total books for the month of May and I had 1 DNF. So I think that's pretty good. I was really enjoying everything that I was reading. I had 2 4.5 stars. So truly, I think they were close. We had The Fine Print by Lauren Asher, which is a Dreamland Billionaire series. It's the first book in the series. I knocked it down because of the miscommunication thing. It's my hang up. It truly is. Not everybody hates it as much as I do, but it was such a fun book. It was such a fun romance. We had our main characters, Rowan and Zara. I kept saying Zahara if you watched that video. And I had to, oh my gosh, I had to redo it because I kept saying the wrong name. But we have the grumpy sunshine romance of Rowan, who is trying to prove to his family and to obtain from his grandfather's will shares in the company and his inheritance. Basically has to do a task and do a very big project for Dreamland that impresses the board as appointed by his grandfather, helping him along the way and realizing that money isn't everything. Keeping your employees happy really kind of trickles down to the park level and your guests. It was a lot of fun. It reminded me so much of Disney. I kept thinking, how are they getting away with this? Because it is so Disney. We had Cinderella's Castle. No, that's not what they called it. But anyway, I loved it. I love everything Disney. Such a fun book and really just transported me there and absolutely loved it. I picked up the next 2 books in the series and I'm looking to see where I can slot them into an upcoming TBR very, very soon. And the second 4.5 star book that I read in May was The Honeymooners, and it was another romance. So I guess I was I was feeling the romance books that I had picked for the month. We had Enemies to Lovers. It was just so fun. I just loved Olive and Ethan. She feels like in her life that she is the unlucky twin. Her twin wins everything. She enters all of these contests. She basically financed her wedding by winning all these contests and all these prizes, including a 2-week trip to Maui. But unfortunately, as part of the wedding reception, everybody gets ill on this really scary disease that actually is a thing and was not food poisoning. I talked about it in that vlog. I was like, it's a thing? What? I shouldn't eat shellfish or seafood, I think it was in general. I was like, oh my gosh, this is scary. I don't know how common it is. I'm hoping it's extremely rare. But in any case, everybody came down with this illness except for Ethan and Olive because she's allergic to fish and he doesn't eat at buffets, which was a very good idea in this case. And so Ani, her name is, the twin, says, go on this honeymoon. Nobody's ever going to know that we're going to forfeit it. If you don't take it, you're my twin. We're identical. Go on this honeymoon. Enjoy yourself. It's a couple weeks away. You can stand Ethan for 2 weeks in Maui. And so Olive does. Realizes that a lot of the things that she thought were true about Ethan, about how he felt about her, were not true, and starts to develop some romantic feelings. So it was so cute. I just had a great time with this one. And of course, there were so many things that went wrong. I just kept saying, just quit talking. Stop. But she kind of talks more and she gets nervous. And yeah, there were a lot of really uncomfortable situations that were funny, and I really enjoyed myself. Highly recommend that one if you haven't picked it up before. And I definitely will be picking up more from these authors. It's 2 people that write together. Did I say who it was? Christina Lauren. So yeah, I have another book. I think I just read another book by them as well and really enjoyed that, but that's for an upcoming vlog, so I don't want to spoil that one too much. Honorable mention, we had a middle grade fantasy, which was Disney After Dark by Ridley Pearson. A lot of fun. It was young. It was on the younger side of middle grade, I would say, but I had a lot of fun with it. I have the next 2 books in this series. Again, Disney, love it. And so I'll be looking forward to slotting those in upcoming. It was a fun, easy, happy type read. There was one scene that was creepy. I talked about that a little bit. If you have young children and they want to read the series, you might just want to check it out, but you know, I'm probably overthinking it a little bit. But yeah, I was a little creeped out. I was like, what is going on? But yeah, that was a lot of fun. I also really enjoyed Reckless Girls by Rachel Hawkins, which was a suspense. I don't know. That is definitely a place that I wouldn't want to go to. So it was an island somewhere off the coast of Maui, or not very close to there, but it was a deserted island that there's a lot of legends. Spooky things have happened there in the past. And I kept waiting for the other shoe to drop. I thought that there would be a murderous rampage at any second. It was definitely suspenseful. I never knew what was going to happen. It was a lot of fun. I think that would be a really good beach read or something if you are on a plane. I think it's a lot of fun. If you were on a small cruise ship, I'm not sure that I, you know, like especially a sailboat, one of those very small cruises, I don't know that I'd take it with me at that point, but maybe for a really good beach summary read, I would highly recommend that one. Very suspenseful, just never really knew what was going to happen. I think the ending came up a little bit fast, and I feel like, I was like, really, is that it? I'm not sure. So that was the only criticism that I would have for that. There was a lot leading up to it, and I just felt like said this probably meandering our way through, and then all of a sudden, wham, there was the ending, and I was like, wait a minute. Felt like it happened a little bit too quick for my liking, but overall I think it was a really fun read and highly recommend, definitely, for a good summertime suspenseful novel. I had one DNF, and I don't even know that I talked about it, but it was the Secret Book and Scone Society. It's a cozy mystery, and it just wasn't for me. I think part of it was the relationships felt a little bit forced between the women in the book, and so it just didn't work for me, but I know this is a beloved series. A lot of people enjoy it. Let me know if you've read that series. Let me know your thoughts. Because like I said, it's a beloved series and it's been going on for a little bit of time now. There's at least 5 books, or probably a lot more. I'm probably underthinking it, but I don't know, something about it didn't work for me at the time. Not saying I wouldn't go back to it, because I really did like the premise. It was very cute. We had our bookstore owner who could basically figure out the books that you needed to help heal the situations that were going on in your life, and then we had the bakery owner that prepares the right scone for you that helps bring you comfort and exactly what you needed. So I love the premise of it. I just thought it was a little strange how quickly they came together, but perhaps it was that magical element that brought them together, and maybe I'm overthinking it. So let me know your thoughts down below. I'd be interested to hear what you thought. And sometimes, you know, truly, when we read a book, and I've said this before, it's as much of the headspace that we are in or the time frame that we're reading it as much as it is the book itself. So maybe just because it doesn't work for me now doesn't mean it might not work for me in the future. Like, I could see this being a really nice, cozy, like fall type of mystery. So perhaps I'll try it again at that point. But at this point, I was just like, it wasn't really working with the other books that I was reading, and I shelved it for now. And then I kind of have decided, I think the Finley Donovan series, I think I'm done with it. I did read the first 2. The second book, I gave it a 2.5 star. I'm not sure. I was talking to my son about it today, actually my youngest son, and trying to describe my thoughts about it. I don't know. There was just, there's a couple of things that are a little off-putting, I think. The husband, of course, everybody hates the ex-husband, of course. I feel like the children are a little bit of an afterthought, and they feel like something that Finley's always trying to give to somebody else in order to get things done. I mean, she's got a lot going on, believe me, but I don't know, it just didn't work for me. So I think I'm done. I read the first 2. I can see why a lot of people really enjoy this series, but I've heard the third book isn't as good, and I'm like, maybe it's time to put it on the shelf for now. If I hear that the fourth book is awesome, back on track, I'd be totally willing to pick up the fourth book. I haven't heard the greatest of things about book 3, so let me know if you've read book 3, if you think I would enjoy it more so than the second book. It didn't work as much for me, so I was a little disappointed and gave it a 2.5 star. So overall, I would say I had a couple of really great reading months, some fun reads, some great new authors for me that I can't wait to read more from them. And I will say I am a little bit ahead of the game on June reads. I got busy over the weekend, wasn't able to film a vlog. You will see one upcoming for this next weekend, but I'm having a great time in June. I have picked up some great books. I'm so excited to share them with you. Some really fun reads with some variety of themes. So I will give you an idea. Our first theme is truly brilliant main characters. So I tried to pick books that had truly amazingly brilliant and intelligent main characters. Thought that would be kind of fun, and they're in a variety of genres, and I can't wait to share that with you. I have finished all of those books, and I will be putting that vlog up hopefully this weekend, unless anything changes. But yeah, I'm super excited to do that. I'm doing a vlog in June on colors, so there has to be a color in the title. So that has been working out really well. I was able to find quite a few books actually that had colors in the title. And then in honor of June, which is typically a wedding month, at least it has been in the past, we are going to be talking about books with either the word husband or wife or wives in the title. That was a lot of fun as well. I just can't wait to share those books with all of you. That was probably my highlight week, I think, so far. So I'm so excited to be able to talk about those books with all of you, share my thoughts, maybe encourage you to pick up a book that you hadn't have tried or thought of before. I know one of them, I don't even know. I think I was just like Googling and looking for titles that had the words in them and came across the title and I loved it. Can't wait to read more books by that author. And that's the fun part, finding new authors based on just seemingly random criteria, and then you find a really great book and you're like, oh, I want to read more by this author. And that has definitely been happening in June. So I can't wait to share that with all of you. I hope you're doing well. Let me know your favorite book that you read in May. We'll see if I've read it and maybe I can slot it into an upcoming TBR. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you decide to subscribe down below if you haven't already. Give me a like for this video if you like this kind of content, and I will see you next time. Bye, everybody.